Warning! The following audio may contain coarse language and other material that may not be suitable for a younger audience. Listener discretion is advised. Also, we may spoil anything and everything, so you have been warned.
Hey, we always have that little bit of pre-talk, and I wanted to make sure that I...
Also, don't call it pre-talk. It needs to be called foreplay.
Also, John, I'm gonna call you John.
Oh, okay, yeah, no.
We're on a first name basis here. I find it kind of weird if anyone here calls me Gigguk.
Because it's interesting because you aren't anywhere else but here. You are Gigguk everywhere.
I know when there are true fans, right? When they call me Gant, and it's so weird because, like, I don't know, like, Sarah, have you met anyone who knows your channel?
Yeah.
Like, do they call you 42 Believer or do they call you Sarah?
Garn again. Okay. Hey, Garn, do they call you Sir Drops a lot? Like, Jesus Christ.
Wait. Did everyone stop? Did anyone stop recording?
No, we didn't.
Good, you'll pass the test. It was just a test.
Sure.
Likely story.
So, Sarah, I didn't actually hear. All I heard was. Actually, I didn't even know what.
There's a really great edit somewhere in here, Garn.
Oh, okay, so let me... I got really nervous because you said, does anyone call you Sarah or just call you 42 Believer? And that's when I started talking. Yeah. And I said, oh no, people usually just shorten it to 42. They don't even do the Believer part. But that's kind of weird because I'm not a number. This isn't the Holocaust. And then no one said anything. No one said anything. And I was like, oh shit, did I just piss everyone off?
Was it in poor taste? Absolutely. But it doesn't
I'm so keeping that in. That's just
Tastes a little burnt, more
it's
like.
It's true though, because I stopped talking, and I said, even after I said the joke, I'm like, that was terrible. I shouldn't have said that. And then no one spoke, and I was like, shit. I just fucked everything up.
Apologies to any World War II survivors.
I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
Those 90-year-old weeaboos listening to our podcast.
Man, it's already going to be just... The comments are always just going to be going... Where's the opening? Where's Tristan? Okay, actually...
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it, yeah. Okay, that's fine. So then, I'll just start the... We'll have one of them start the episode.
Yeah. Anyone start speaking now. I don't care who. Go.
Sure.
So who's doing the intro?
John! Fucking do it!
Hello and welcome to PodTaku. My name's Demolition D. It's wonderful to be here.
It's like everyone you've requested.
You may know me from things and the internet.
From that one BaronJ review with Mirai Nikki where you were a guest.
Oh yeah, that fucker. I remember that kid.
Yeah, but for anyone who is unaware by this point, this is BaronJ, whose name is John.
Hello.
He's agreed to join us.
Yes.
John's a good friend of mine, who I've been playing video games with and recording videos for a while now.
Yes.
And with me today I also have Connor from, Fictionreviews now. Because the reviews are fictional, but now they're not because they exist.
Well, you know.
I remember back when we found you, and there was like no reviews yet.
Yep.
And it was literally Fictionreviews. Like it was the most meta name ever.
It was one of the running jokes of our early episodes.
No, it was.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, Garnt. Right? Because like, you knew of me because I responded to one of your videos with a video response when those were a thing, and then you knew of my presence for a good 6 months. So it took you 6 months to come up with that joke. I will never let go of that. You'll never live that down.
Of course, Connor. You know, every fucking waking moment was thinking of that joke. Another question that I have is 42 believers. 42, I presuming the meaning of everything.
Absolutely.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Not the Holocaust.
Not the Holocaust.
She is not a number.
You don't know the stress I felt.
Yeah.
She is not a Nazi. We just confirmed that right now.
And then also with me, I got my right-hand man, Garrett, here, also known as Gigguk from the Anime Zone.
Nice to meet you.
And of course, there's me, Holden from HoldenReviews. Me and Garrett actually recently met each other since our last recording.
Yeah.
We actually did a live stream on my channel. It was really fun. It's always really weird meeting you.
Yeah.
This time when I met you, I had really short hair.
I opened... you came out to get me, and I just saw your hair, and I was just like... who the fuck is this?
Yep.
I was like, is this really Holden? And it was just, oh man, he's still wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, it is Holden. And it was a very surreal experience seeing you with just shorter hair than me.
For anyone wondering, the reason I cut my hair is because in like a week or so, I'll be moving to Japan. While I'm there, I don't want to get a haircut or anything if I don't have to. And also just be taken more seriously by the working individuals there, so they're not totally scared off by my, I don't know.
Yeah.
If Japan's anything, it's probably the xenophilic, where they're just kind of like, oh man, this is scared.
Especially since you're already tall to boot.
6'3".
Well, it confused the crap out of me.
He's a delinquent. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, there it is.
They use that word all the time, delinquent, and I'm like, delinquent?
Oh.
Is that really an insult? Like,
it's like, no, this kid, he bleached his hair. He's definitely a delinquent.
Man. It's like Sunahar from Clanhead, how they were all just like, oh man, he's a delinquent. He's got blonde hair. And then I remember in the OVA, you see him without the blonde hair, and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, is this Tomoyo when he gets older? What happened?
Oh no.
It's so weird.
It confused the hell out of me because I edited that video, and you sent me the take, and I was just like, because I thought I was looking at you, and then it was just some dude with short hair smoking a cigarette. I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah. For everyone wondering, I didn't smoke the cigarette. I'm not addicted to crack, cocaine, marijuana, plant yet.
He's not a crack whore. Like
everyone, I hope. For everyone who smokes marijuana, I hope you get AIDS from the needles you inject it with.
For the record, I am addicted to all of the things he just said.
So before we start, we want to address a common comment that we've been getting. And it's not Demo D on PodTaku for life, whatever the fuck you want to say. Yeah. It is with Tristan.
In regards to Tristan being here, who is a part of us still. He is not left yet. He's still a part of us. He's just really busy for the next coming months. He will be back once his schedule frees up. Probably. But now that he's full-time on YouTube and more active than all of us combined, it's kind of understandable that he's a bit busy.
Probably in the winter, because it's not frosty enough for him to revive yet. That's what we're guessing, you know?
Yeah, he is basically Frosty the Snowman. I'll be back on Christmas Day. I don't know.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Another thing I want to mention before we start is just Connor and John, who are just
they sound the same.
Who are not the same person, but both happen to be
can we talk about this in the way that I presented it, because now I feel awkward about that. So they get me in the call and everything, and they're just like, okay, we're gonna start, and I'm sitting here like, oh okay, and I was like, wait a minute, they're a podcast. I'm an audio engineer. I should offer because that's what I do. So I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, no, if you guys ever need your audio cleaned up or if you need any royalty-free music, I'm an audio engineer. That's something I totally do. And then Cart's just like, oh, that's interesting. That means we have 2 audio engineers.
Hello.
To which I go, oh God, oh, what have I done? Then we just talked shop for 4 hours, and they had a kind of moment together where they realized they were both 2 smooth-talking audio engineers that both happened to talk about anime, and it was just a really weird if Alan was here in this podcast, it would kind of be like the episode where the love triangle starts. You guys know what I mean? where these two developed characters, are like, oh, they're obviously the main love interest, and then this third character gets introduced, who just is there to just be teased the main character. Hello. Yeah, it's actually perfect because right now I have a soul patch and straight up evil villain mustache.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Oh, God.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not even kidding about that.
John for best girl.
It's a look. It's a look
for sure.
I mean, we've all been changing our looks recently. But in regards actually to the last podcast we did, I've got a really funny story about it, Garn.
Okay.
That really relates, and that was in reference to when I mentioned Victoria Holden. The woman who shares my name and just as much beauty as I. What was interesting was that she tweeted to us at PodTaku that one of her friends, coworkers, told her that we mentioned that she was hot in the podcast, which is, I don't know if I said explicitly hot, but I said something to that avail.
Damn fine.
She listened to it. She listened to it, and then she followed me, and I was like, oh my God, this is the best day of my life.
So no,
the brand manager of... For anyone who doesn't know, Victoria Holden, Sailor B, she's the brand manager of Crunchyroll, and so it's a name you should probably know if you like anime in the West. It's a very common one, at least. And so it was just really funny hearing that, and then just talking to her about Oh My Goddess when I was rewatching it. It's also in the last episode the director of the Evangelion thing that, what was it? The Evangelion ADHD cartoon, the animation domination, high definition. Those, like the Eva one, the Dragon Ball Z one. The director of those came to me, Kalen, my good friend, and he commented that he's seen it as well. So it's really interesting seeing how much this little podcast is going around. It makes me self-conscious about what we should say.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wanted to address that.
It also taught me that you can get your podcast noticed by calling a certain person hot.
So, yeah, so to Victoria Holden, I still think you're gorgeous. I don't know if I said hot, as that seems a little more demeaning. But thank you for the follow, and I hope you enjoy the show.
I'm not sure that any of you should really be self-conscious, because at least... Like, weren't you all in, well, except for John, in Mentaku? So, like, how can you get more self-conscious than that?
You can't prove that I wasn't.
The difference was, it would be...
It could have been Connor. He could have been talking as Connor. Like, I mean, they... They've just...
It's different. It's like, if I was to just tweet out, if I was to say something right now about a studio that we recommend, I could be like, Studio Pink Pineapple. And just... If Studio Pink Pineapple contacted me, it would be the fucking most surreal experience ever.
Okay, so in a similar vein to that,
if you are listening to Studio Pink Pineapple, I would love to
I checked out a lot of your work.
Totally.
I'm quite the aficionado on your...
To anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, please don't Google this. This isn't Mentaku. But Connor, what were you about to say?
In a similar vein to that, I never got the chance to say this, but shout out to Chris Stuckman commenting on one of our podcasts.
Yeah, Chris Stuckman, one of our listeners that we didn't realize until much later, as well as Uber Danger, Jonathan. Just a lot of interesting people listening to it that we didn't realize. And of course, all of you lovely people at home listening and commenting in the comment section below.
Yeah, all you interesting people, get in contact with us. We'll become friends, and then you will be eligible to appear on the podcast, and that'll be our gateway to get more grander names on the podcast. Hashtag Game Grumps for PodTaku 2016.
Wait, no, I got it, guys. Game Grumps, you're hot.
There we go.
Job done.
Every single game.
What I really want is just, if we're going to do this, then I just want to say, watch Mojo, you're hot. I would love to get Watch Mojo guy on the show. That'd be fantastic.
Doug Walker, you are hot. Let's see, where's my list?
Man, it's really funny though, seeing all of that kind of happen in the recent time frame. I remember a long time ago, whenever Lou from Sitting by the Window anime, he got the voice actor Space Dandy to say something. We didn't use that intro because it was from Khan. It didn't sound all too great. But I remember that moment. Do you remember this guy?
Yeah, I remember that.
Hi, my name is Ian Sinclair, and I'm the voice of Space Dandy. Welcome to PodTaku. They can't read circles, but they do kick ass. Warning, the following audio may contain coarse language and other material that may not be suitable for a younger audience. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, we may spoil anything and everything, so you've been warned. Deal with it.
And that was just a really interesting and surreal moment as well.
What's really, really funny about you saying all this is that, like, it's like, oh yeah, no, the people watching and people following, and you'll be a member, you'll like come on to PodTaku, and I'm just sitting here like, I've known about PodTaku, but like I'd listen to the first like 10 minutes and go, I want to do something else right now.
Well, this is the first and last time you'll be seeing him on here.
Well, guys, thanks for having me. I'll just, I'll see myself out.
News related that's really interesting, actually, that I think we can talk about is, of course, just to make brief mention of it, the fact that soon will mark the 20th anniversary of Evangelion, upon ushering in the Blu-ray release of both End of Evangelion and the series, just Evangelion. So I think that's really interesting to see. To see that released, because that's going to be a big thing. Another release that's coming out is they're actually making another release of Blu-ray for Karno Kyokai.
Ooh,
the first one in is it 5 years.
Is it going to be cheaper?
Quite double the price, like half the price. I mean, not double, but half the price. So quite a bit cheaper for that one, to say the least. which is really crazy. And I think another release that's just really interesting to mention, I think we should really talk about since we've talked about it before. In fact, some of the people who were there talking about it are here right now. That being Ruby. The big news with Ruby that just transpired was that Ruby was purchased by Warner Brothers Japan and was revealed at Comic-Con 88 with a Japanese dub.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
really?
That's true.
And so this is really important news because, well, first off, this is Rooster Teeth's creation, directed by Monty Ohm.
And it's not an anime, or it wasn't, or it was.
we
don't know.
It's interesting to talk about because, especially right now, for instance, the roles that they're going to have, like, they have some pretty huge voice actors.
Do.
For instance,
Holy crap! Yeah.
They have like for the voice of Ruby, she was like, because I mean, like, you have Weiss, which is going to be voiced by like Mio Kamiya, which is the voice of Mio from K-On! And then you have people like Sori Hayami, which is the voice of she's like Yukino, I think, in Origairu.
Yeah.
And she's Ruby. And then what's really interesting is that you have the voice actress of Annie from Attack on Titan is going to be Blake, and you have the voice actress of Ryoko from Kill la Kill going to be Yang, which I think was probably the most spot on out of all of them.
I agree there.
I would say even just listening to Japanese fan dubs of Ruby, like it was miles better than the English original English version.
You know.
So you just go watch the Japanese version.
Just go watch the original Japanese version.
Right.
Like, it was intended to be watched.
I remember that when it came out, though, something that was really interesting to talk about with it was, of course, the soundtrack, which is going to stay in English.
Yeah.
Of course, because the soundtrack was so highly received, topping the iTunes market.
As it should have been. As it should have been.
Oh, hell yeah.
The question I have for Ruby is, we all know, unfortunately, about Monty Ohm, but what do you think the future of Ruby is going to be without him? How much of an effect do you think losing Monty would have on the series?
I actually, interestingly enough, I did watch the Ruby panel at the most recent RTX.
I missed that.
And season 3 is in production right now. Or volume 3, whatever they're fucking calling it. And so it is being made. I haven't seen any of the promotional videos for it because they blocked that out of the stream because, special rights of the people who were there and everything like that. But
what's interesting about it is actually there's also footage and sequences that were still animated by Monty Ohm.
Yes, there are.
Before his death.
Yeah. That's the main thing is they've got that notebook that he has that has like the entire next 6 seasons mapped out.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting about that is like to also harp on recent news. Recently was the 5-year anniversary of the death of Satoshi Kon.
Oh God! Yeah. Huh.
Actually, what was it? 6? I think it was 6 years.
I think it's 5 or 6. Or
5 or 6. I think it's 5.
Yeah.
But it was so it's been a long time. I was in high school back then. And I think it's really interesting how it's two visionaries who both left enough source material because they didn't care. They didn't. Of course, the difference was Monty Ohm was not aware of his impending death, whereas Satoshi Kon, pancreatic cancer, he was very aware of it. He knew that he had basically a month to live. So Satoshi Kon made enough preparations, to basically act as a will and testament of his dreams.
Well,
whereas Monty Ohm,
Satoshi Kon managed to leave a last message, and if anyone who's listening has read this message, it's like gut wrenching.
It is.
Yeah. It's really because it's the final letter written by Satoshi Kon, written to his fans, written to everyone, and it's just a transcript. You can find the English translation of it. It's on a blog, I'm pretty sure, and it's the final words of Satoshi Kon, and it's so haunting and just gut wrenching because it's a man who is not afraid of anything, but he's just sad. He's upset. He feels that he's failed us, is what he constantly said. He said, "I'm sorry," is what he keeps saying. And I think that was probably the most striking thing about that for me, was how he didn't show any fear of death or anything, but rather just was upset that he couldn't be more or do more with his life. Yeah. And that's something that I always took away from it. I read it, once every 2 years. Whenever I really want to get depressed, I'll read the Satoshi Kon final.
Well, if you want to get depressed, you can watch Evangelion.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, speaking of which, Evangelion 4.0 when?
No, yeah, I was about to say, with the Blu-rays that are coming out, is the dub finally gonna be released as well?
Never!
Yeah, hopefully while I'm in Japan, that would be the best, considering...
You'd be able to go to the movies and see it.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's such a surreal experience, because I'm going to be watching the newest Momo Hosoda film, The Boy and the Beast.
Oh, yeah.
And so, Bakemono no Ko, and I'm going to be watching that in theaters.
You're going to do the equivalent of downloading a raw file, even, and
you
just
don't even know, dude.
I don't know what the fuck this... Has anyone
Watashi wa Nihonjin, boy.
Has anyone actually watched a raw file without watching a sub file beforehand?
I
have.
I did that for my Karunoki Yokai Mirai Fuku.
I was going to say, his K&K review, I'm pretty sure. I remember that you wanted to sync up to the release of the subtitled version with the release of your video. And so I do remember this. And
yeah.
God, cam rip, I think was the only other one, maybe? Like a cam rip of something. I'm not sure when or where. That was probably a long time ago, because the days of cam ripping are so long since gone.
Yeah.
Considering you can usually buy the film at the theater when you watch it.
Yeah.
Which is really, really interesting. But I think just another note to touch base on that relates to this as well is Netflix, September 2nd, Japan. I mentioned it before. September 2nd, to date it, has not happened yet, or maybe it has. Let's keep it a mystery, but what's interesting is that Studio 4 Degrees C has actually announced that with the release of Netflix in Japan, they're going to be releasing a small portion of their films internationally.
Oh.
Those films being Princess Arete, Mind Game, Genius Party, and Genius Party Beyond. I think they're also releasing a series, I believe, on the 13th. But it's worldwide. That's the big thing. Because now that Japan has the ability to control stuff with Netflix, the Japanese are letting the world, in basically, like, they're rewarding everyone,
well,
I guess.
It's funny how we talked about this literally 2 podcasts ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Literally
and
about
here
a
it
week
is.
Or 2 after we talked about it, that was announced, and it was just like...
And that was pretty big.
It was like, whoa, PodTaku controls everything!
Fate. I was like, fate confirmed.
Yeah.
But
if only Madhouse would release One Punch Man next week. If only. If only.
If only Haikyuu would be released tomorrow.
Well, come on, guys. We're still in the good old summer season.
There's a lot of interesting
what have you guys been watching in this summer season?
I was dreading that question.
Oh god.
I mean, look, just to mention it, right? Because I don't think maybe we haven't been watching much. But I think something that's really important to mention with summer season is Monster Musume, right?
Yeah.
So
Who wants to fuck the snake?
It's amazing. First off, I love it. Anyone who doesn't, I just don't.
There's definitely a lot more to it than I was expecting.
Yeah, I loved it. But I think I stopped watching it after episode 1 because I want to wait for the Blu-rays, because I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice as a male.
Okay, I just have one. I just have one
function, not dysfunction, but erectile function.
I just want to have one question before we continue.
Okay.
Does the snake girl have a vagina?
Yes.
Apparently.
Yes, she does.
I don't like how quick we were both to be saying yes.
You already know the answer. But it's really interesting because it's 2 mangas that I read, years ago, right? This season, both being Prison School and Day Loves Monster Girls, Monster Musume. And it's weird because I remember mentioning them, I think, like 3 years ago, when I last mentioned them on PodTaku. So it's really weird seeing them come to fruition, not only at all, but at the same time, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. That said, I think there was a really interesting announcement for Comic Cat 88, the one that just passed, regarding Monster Musume that I thought was really cool, and it was a 20.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It sold out.
It was the Lemia pillow, right? So there's one of the main female protagonists named Mia. She's a lamia, or a lamia, I don't know. She's not a labia. That's different. She might have one.
Oh god, can you imagine that?
No, I can't. I prefer not.
But what happens is she is a snake. So she's like this long anaconda-esque thing, right? And so this thing is 23 feet long, right?
Oh my god.
This is a 23-foot long dakimakura, or hugging pillow, for anyone who doesn't know. So this is like that thing that otaku get whenever you've finally given up on trying to deny what you are.
Yeah.
Whenever you finally accept who you are and what you are, you get a dakimakura to congratulate yourself for it.
Didn't it sell out in like an hour?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that it sold out, yes, in an hour. And this is a 23-foot pillow, so this is nothing small because you had to have a group of men to carry it home if you wanted to.
Oh my God.
And it was like
Huge.
several $100s or something.
Yeah, it was not cheap.
$806 USD.
I mean,
So,
honestly,
a lot. But
like-
it sold out so fast that what happened was they actually made a request form to make more so people can buy them again and have it mailed to their house because that's how popular this body pillow was.
Holy
And I think that's amazing. I think that's almost $1,000. A pillow. This is a sleeping contraption. Is almost $1,000. Like, are you buying a Serta mattress? It's like, no, I'm buying this animu girl that's like half snake that I sleep with, and I just like wrap myself in like she's constricting me.
You could lie that thing like end to end, and it would just be a bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what's so cool.
That's the new generation of dakimakuras. It's just it's not a love pillow. It's just a love bed.
And so, I mean,
No, I
Anybody
just
has a
loved
love bed if you
how
try
they-
hard enough,
shout out
baby.
to my man Melon Pond, who really does live the dream of the dakimakura bed.
Fucking
Good old Melon Pond, Meido Cafe.
John.
Yes.
John. What were you about to say before?
Oh yeah. They'd kill me if I didn't say this. So when we went to Anime Next in
course,
in New
with your
Jersey,
boys.
yeah, with the boys, we went to the Trigger panel because Trigger was there, Studio Trigger.
Yes,
it was like
of course,
Sushio and a couple of the newer animators, and
Sure.
so during the panel, like first off, I was the first person to go up and ask a question. I was really happy about it, but. The last person to go up was this kid, and he was holding one. He was
The dakimakura.
yeah, and it was Nia.
Okay. So from Gurren Lagann, for anyone who's
Yeah.
wondering.
Okay.
Yes.
So he's holding this and asking them a question like something about. I think it was something about like when you're looking for inspiration, what do you do? And so they answer it very, very professionally. And then finally at the end, Sushio, the character designer of Kill la Kill and one of the character designers who did stuff like Nia, he like grabs the microphone from the translator and he's like, and he like just says that. And the translator grabs it
Japanese
back
voice.
and he goes, yeah, he says, he's asking if that's your wife.
I think what's interesting about that is that Melon Pond actually went skydiving with the
did he
exact
answer-
same dakimakura.
Did he answer yes?
No, yes. Yeah, the kid was like, yes, yes it is.
True man. True man.
Right there.
And the entire
Put-
audience
put
just
on the
applauded.
spot.
We were in awe of this kid.
Oh my god.
It's actually just to continue the topic of documentaries. what's really interesting actually recently was there was so Shokugeki no Soma or Food Wars
Oh, yeah.
in the West
Also watching
has a lot
Yeah.
of merchandise, like a lot. Because what's interesting is that it's made by Tosh, a very prevalent doujinshi artist.
Oh, God.
Which is slang for he does porno comics.
That explains so much.
They're not necessarily porn
first-
comics, but if they don't contain porn comics, they're not funny.
But if you want a good time, I recommend Harem Time. But so, what's interesting is because everything's so highly sexually designed and stuff. Because it's his previous line of work, as most mangakas are. What's interesting is that he has a lot of attractive male characters, and what was unexpected was that the male dakimakuras for this series are selling more than ever predicted.
Oh my god.
I mean, I think,
Because it has so many hot-looking
And
dudes,
Sarah
man.
laughs.
That dude has his ass showing from an apron, man.
I think I
You can
speak.
see his ass.
I think I speak for Sarah in that in the past few years of anime, Free has just opened the floodgates.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah.
has. Orange Rouge. Thank you. Good Smile Company.
And it's just this
awesome.
whole untapped market that just the whole anime industry was just unaware of or just didn't cater to until Free came out.
We were sitting there waiting.
This is the new wave of anime. This is the new
Yeah.
this is the new
Waiting.
trend. We had K-On! And now we have Free. It's this whole new generation. We were in the Moe era, we're in the
yeah.
Manservice era now.
Yeah, I went into a Hot Topic the other day, and they had a free backpack. They had an
actually
Iwatomi
have.
Swivel Club backpack. Of course you do.
I believe it. So that sounds like Hot Topic, though, right? Because now you used to the most you saw female character-wise was like maybe Black Butler. That was
and
probably
Oran.
the extent.
They've got tons of that too. It's crazy.
The original one was like the most they got was like L from Death Note.
Yeah.
That was basically. I'm a fangirl because I'm wearing like an L t-shirt or whatever, and he's so cute, and that's the closest thing they got. And then Black Butler kind of, and maybe like Hitalia, kind of.
Oran.
Oh
yeah, they did have Oran for a while.
Don't forget Oran.
But it's
too long.
It has not been as prevalent as it has been in the past few years, where it's just, oh my god, it's rivaling the actual female figurines and merchandising.
It's amazing. So
I think it's really interesting though, because, for instance, right, like we mentioned it last time, Gangster, right? I think Gangster will and for always be Fujoshi bait at its like purest essentialness.
It is,
even if that's not necessarily what it is, but it definitely is like, hey, ladies, I heard you like strong, scruffy men. And because it panders and is very conscious and cognizant of the female audience now. And I think that's awesome. I think it's amazing that it took this fucking long for them to realize that there's two fucking genders to humans.
Yeah. I mean, Sarah, what do you think about this whole new movement?
I love it. Hell yeah. Bring it on. I've been waiting because I do remember getting into anime way before, where the only t-shirts you could get were L t-shirts at Hot Topic. And now it's just like I can pick and choose. Like there's a whole palette of things that are pandering towards me, and I can just, there's so much. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's so different, right? Like for instance, like
she's been set free.
Let's put it this way, right? Before 2015, I don't think that I would have ever seen an anime like Pillow Boys.
Yeah,
ever.
Yeah, Pillow Boys is awesome.
Its existence, Bikini Warriors. I'm like, it's like I could have seen this back in 2005, probably. But
this is just
Pillow
no
Boys
Tuesday.
is so interesting because it's so different in that sense. Because it's finally aware. Like for instance, even like 2 seasons ago or something, maybe even last year, whenever we had the Mermaid anime, the Mermaid.
Oranchino for Ojijo.
Yeah, also a short, not to be confused with The Boy and His Mermaid, which is a movie. Watch both. But
that was hella
It's interesting
gay.
because like that was something that was so different. Like you wouldn't see that years ago. Like for instance, the fact that Uta Prince has like 3 seasons now. There's obviously some women out there watching the show, which is fantastic.
They're gonna do a second season of that Magical Boy anime too.
Oh,
yes, they
man.
are.
Yes, they are.
That's all. Yeah, that was just announced. You're right. The newest season of the Magical Schoolboys anime, where I play the blue main character.
I would say, like, last season I think was the season of yaoi, and the season for people like Sarah. But I think this season is the season for fucking men and fucking fan service. I mean, how much shit have we got this season? That's just
fantastic. You mean?
It is fantastic. I mean, it's bringing a whole new. I mean, what's your guys' favorite season anime this season?
Like this current airing one.
This current airing one.
Yeah, I was so concerned about like that question. Like, what have you guys been watching recently? Because I was like, oh man. The only shows I've been watching are probably like what Ken would watch. Like the only things I'm watching really are Durarara.
I don't know if that's an insult to Ken or
no,
what you're trying to say here.
All I'm watching right now weekly is Durarara, which I was like, someone may be watching that, but they're probably like waiting till it's done, which is like the smarter decision to do.
It's got 3 seasons.
And then I'm watching Working and Nanon Biori. And then just like 2 days ago, I picked up School Live just like on a whim.
Oh,
and then I saw Gart, you tweeted out, I was like, thank you! I have been saved!
For the record, School Live is not something I would usually watch, but it did pique my interest because a few people have said a few things about it. Mm-hmm. And it is certainly very different. I mean, Connor, did you know what was going to happen going into it?
Unfortunately, yeah, I was spoiled to it long before, so I was just kind of like watching the first episode, and I saw like the things that were obviously very out of place, like the broken windows, the cross upstairs, and stuff like that. I was like, oh, all right. So they weren't exactly like super subtle about it. You knew something was up, but then going through it, it was really interesting. Because I remember you tweeted out saying how it's like still trying to be a moe show when it's like obviously that's not the case. This is
Okay, wait. Has anyone else seen it?
I've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah.
Right.
What do you think, John?
I think, from the first time where I think it's like the shot where the dog goes into the classroom and you look in and there's nobody fucking in there. Like, I noticed that and went, wait a second, because I watched it in a reaction thing with my buddy Alex, and we were watching it and I go, hold on a second, there was nobody in that room. There was nobody in this room. There was nobody in there. I just noticed that something is going on here, and then from that moment, everything that they showed was just like, this is not what it looks like. This is not what it seems.
Yeah.
And I actually, unfortunately, I'm not caught up to like the current episodes because I'm going to wait and that's the one that I'm waiting for all of them to come out, and then I'm just going to marathon all of them. But
I mean, the way I see it now is I mean, I like the concept. I'm not going to spoil. But for anyone interested, just watch the first episode, because it's basically a kind of like a Madoka Magica kind of moment where you're just like, oh. Shit, this is not what it seems. Nothing is as it seems. My problem with it is that after you know the twist, it kind of meanders between really, really super serious show and still a slice of life, really comedy kind of thing. You know, I wish it was more like a Madoka, where once you knew what was going on, it kind of stayed that tone throughout. And it didn't swap between the two, because I guess I'm not a slice of life fan, as you know, or a Moe fan, so it's kind of just, I'm just waiting for stuff to happen when they're in the Moe moments.
I agree, I'm actually kind of sad to hear that that's where it's going. So I don't know, maybe
like things about it, like what I do appreciate about it is that like some of the things that are the way that they are after the curtain has been lifted and you know what's going on, and you're just like, okay, so the facade's up, like we can get on with the show. But then they slowly reveal, you know, through flashbacks and other reveals, that's, you know, some of the things that you're like, haha, that's funny, that's a joke. It's like, no, that's actually some serious shit that happened, and it's really sad.
More of the episode, go watch it so we can discuss it. It's really difficult to tip. It's just we're tiptoeing around this, and it's just an elephant in the room.
It really is.
I think, but what's interesting about it is the sense that what you're describing, something, Garn, is something like I Am Hero, which I don't know if you've read or familiar with. But I Am Hero is a manga about just a dude, just a normal kind of guy, and the whole idea is that they build him up to be very normal, very average, because he's surviving in a zombie apocalypse. And what the thing about I Am Hero is that I Am Hero is this series that, although it can be funny because you realize this guy is not suited for the zombie apocalypse, it's always like this kind of serious tone about it. And so if you guys haven't read something like I Am Hero is a really, really cool manga. Really similar to something, I don't even know if it's similar, but if you like, like Gantz, maybe? If you like Gantz,
Gantz.
Is
something
like anything
that,
like I Am Legend?
Kind of. But the thing is that there's a lot of living people. Like it's not about being isolated.
Right.
Because it's not like, for instance, where some manga focuses on the idea of isolation, this one focuses on just how humans interact in a world where this happens. Like, there'll be zombies on, like, windows and stuff, like trying to get out, trying to get through glass, and they can't. And it's just kind of something that, like, these people are obviously used to it because they don't react to these, like, daily occurrences at all. And I think something like that is always really interesting. I think I Am Hero does it really well. Because it's so, like, it presents itself in a way where it's like it's always this serious kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting seeing something like this where it shifts between two tones so much. Because, it's not like Madoka. It's not like a show where you can just have one consistent tone. Because it sounds like the biggest problem that you have is the tonal shifts between things.
I mean, I would enjoy a lot more if I did enjoy more a slice of life. Like that's
true.
Like most of the episode they spend chasing a fucking dog through a classroom. I mean, I'll be honest, like I was bored through most of that shit. you know,
right?
And you know,
comment section destroyed.
As per usual, my hate of Moe. It's a shame Ken's not on this podcast.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about prison school? Like, I've been
really good.
I've been waiting to talk about this. I mean, what do you think of the adaptation, Holden?
Okay, so as the guy who basically I like to credit myself with being the person who made Prison School get an adaptation. I'm just kidding. But I was a person who was a fan of it way before I knew anyone else even knew what it was. Seeing it the way it is now, yes, it could be polished better, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree. But
when you consider the fact that it's not, I don't think anyone else would do it. Then you kind of are like grateful for what you have, because like you can't really. I don't take it for granted, because I know that this anime was something that I never thought could be adapted. In fact, I remember back whenever we used to talk about it, whenever you first read it after I recommended it in an episode, and you were like, I don't know if anyone would adapt this, even though it's like the funniest thing I've ever read.
Sure.
Yeah,
and it's still really funny, even in anime.
It is.
It translates really well.
Surprisingly well. I didn't know if some scenes in the manga would translate as well as they do.
The fucking scene, dude, when they're at the track competition and he puts the speaker down his pants.
Oh no.
That was amazing.
My favorite to this day will always be taking a dump.mp3, no results found. Taking a dump.mp3, no results found. Got to do it live.
Yep.
But it's really funny. The reason I stopped watching that is the same reason I stopped watching Monster Musume right now. Or not stopped, but kind of postponed. And that's because the Blu-rays will enhance the experience so much. Like, it'll be great to see it in the way it was like presented in the manga. And it's going to be really fun in that sense. That said, there's a lot of censorship in it. I'm sure that you're aware. It's the most censorship I've seen in an anime since
Terraformers.
Since Terraformers.
I was going to say Terraformers. I was wondering if anyone was going to say that.
Yeah, since Terraformers, which for anyone wondering in the comments, Terraformers Season 2 confirmed. It was.
Terraformers wasn't.
Did it really?
It is. I guarantee confirmed. They did confirm.
Yes.
I was not lying.
I did not hear about that. I'm
Terraformers wasn't imaginative censorship. It was just bad.
No,
I mean,
like boop, like
a little circle.
Yeah, it's just.
My favorite will always be just the basketball. Like, just come on and slam. And just, the cockroach guy's got the basketball head where it's just like, come on and slam.
Hey, ladies, turn it up. Something, lose your mind.
Don't burn it up. Dude, it was so great, though. But that was a show that was destroyed by its censoring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas Prison School is still good.
It's still watchable,
funny.
But you understand why people would wait for it, though.
Yeah. I can understand.
Completely.
Like, I can understand both ways. Like with Terraformers, it was just unwatchable. I mean, it was just
really bad.
It was really bad. I mean,
because one of the few things that Terraformers had going for it was that it was hypergore, and hypergore is a very, very niche genre that people like to indulge in every now and then. And when you take away that one ticket thing, it's like, what do we do? It's like, it reminded me back of the days of Pupa. Do you remember this part? Where Pupa is an awful anime, in my opinion. But what's interesting is that
it was made even more awful by the censorship.
Yeah, but it was made even worse by the censorship and the fact that they refused to release it as just a movie. Like,
that too.
Because I remember back when it was just the opening and endings made up 50% of the episode because the episode was only 4 minutes long. And I remember whenever I finally got that whenever I was able to get the movie version of it, where it was just, they removed all the openings and endings and edited it down to one thing, and it was like 40 minutes, and I was like, this is slightly more tolerable, but it's still not that great.
I was like, somehow it got even more incomprehensible.
Yeah, because then you watched it all at once, and you're like, wait a minute, now they're just contradicting themselves somewhat. Or it was just like, wow, this is just getting really out of hand really fast. Well, because I think what's interesting about Pupa is that because of the format, the big reveal happens in the very last scene of the first episode, as you do with most big reveals. But when that end of the episode is only like 120 seconds away, it's kind of just like, wow, things are getting really fucking out of hand really fast. Like, it's just school, dog, witch, sister monster. Next episode, like
what? I mean, even when you're watching it 4 minutes runtimes, it was just one of that minute was an opening and ending.
Yep.
So it was literally like just a YouTube video where it's just crazy shit's happening, and you're just like,
it was like a fan anime. It was like a fanimation.
Yeah,
is what it felt
no,
like.
exactly.
It was
oh
like
my
a
God.
fanime where it's like someone makes or a bunch of fans. Make an anime
no. It was like the worst abridged series of all time.
I would think that too. It does feel like
Yes.
it feels like
Yes.
an abridged series in a lot of ways. I'm pretty sure that if they could, Funimation could get it and just do give it the ghost stories treatment.
Oh, I would love it.
Oh, that'd be really fun.
Give it just that kind of crazy ass dub. That'd be crazy.
I would love it.
Which, to go back on actually Prison School and Monster Movies and everything, broadcast dubs.
Oh yeah,
very prevalent this season. There's like 4.
Mm-hmm.
There's Monster Musume, Prison School, Gangsta.
There was something I realized listening to the last podcast where we were like, what if Gangsta was dubs? And we were like, we don't know what it's going to sound like. And literally, when we released it, the dubs are already out, so we know what it's going to sound like. It's this, we forget that broadcast dubs still exist, you know?
And it's really interesting that they do, because it's such a... We live in a really interesting age where that's possible because it's like we're not a year behind.
Has anyone watched any broadcast dubs?
I have.
I did for Space Dandy.
Which one did you watch?
I watched because they're currently releasing. I mean, I know Free's over, but they're releasing the dub of it online every week. Okay. And then I watched Prison School and Gangsta.
Oh, how was Prison School and Gangsta? Well, now we know what the Gangsta dub's going to be like. So, to answer our question from the last podcast, Sarah, what does the Gangsta dub sound like? Because
I'd say it sounds. I wouldn't say it's like terrible. But I definitely have an issue mostly with Nicholas's voice actor because I think the Japanese voice actor. I know it probably sound really pretentious, but I think he sounds really, he sounds deaf because they're working with the Tokyo Federation for Deaf to make sure he sounds accurate. And I even made a comment on Twitter how it was like, man, if the best Funimation, the best effort, #effort that Funimation could put out was having him say Wowick instead of Warwick, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, I did hear that, where the way they made him sound deaf was just to no one is in England, so they make him sound like Jonathan Ross, where he just pronounces that's pretty good. Yeah, he just pronounces his W's as Warwick.
Yeah, I'm like, that's kind of sad. And the Prison School one, that one's Andre sounds not like himself. I understand there's the whole, they're not voice imitators, but they made Andre sound purposefully like he's a gremlin or something like that. And I think a lot of his humor comes from the fact that he looks weird, but he still sounds normal. He's got like a garbled voice. It's really weird.
It's an interesting take. Yeah. I mean, we are looking at, last week, while I was editing, I rewatched all of Negima from 2006. And so hearing Greg Ayres again after literally almost a decade since I last watched it, reminded me what dubs were and how interesting of a person Greg Ayres is.
I went to his Ron Uncensored panel at Anime Boston. It was freaking hilarious.
What has Greg Ayres done?
Greg Ayres is a guy that I think is extremely talented after watching it again a decade later. Because I also watched Oh My Goddess again, because I've been watching everything while editing. Anything that's dubbed that I've seen tons of times I'm rewatching, so Outlaw Star and stuff. But rewatching the dubs like that is really making me... It makes me realize that it's not... I've never cared about the quality of dub, because I could never quantify voice acting. I can quantify stuff like animation and art and sound and stuff like music and everything and how it tonally adds to things. But voice acting is always really hard because it's a character that you don't know. It's really interesting. All you can kind of go off of is what the actor's done and if it sounds like if it's a rehash or
this
not.
Is interesting.
Does Lelouch sound like Ichigo? Does Alucard sound like Hyun?
Right.
That's kind of all I've ever had.
Does Vic Mignogna sound like Vic Mignogna in every single anime?
Right.
Exactly.
Now, this is a thing to bring up, actually, because we have two sound people on the podcast, and I've never been able to ask this question. Connor, what do you listen to, like, primarily more than anything, or what do you watch more than anything, subs or dubs?
Well, in recent years, definitely subs.
Okay, I have this reasoning for why I watch subs over dubs, and it's not anything to do with elitism in any way like that. Right. I watch it literally because there's a cadence to the Japanese dialogue that I miss in the English, and also in the English dubs, the mixing is always terrible for me. It always sounds so much different. Is that the same for you, or is that just me? Am I crazy?
I haven't thought about it that way. I'll definitely look into it because I know there are like shows that I could watch either sub or dub. Like let me look on over to my
because like I know when I got my Gurren Lagann DVDs, the dub for Gurren Lagann is great, but the difference between the two, like if you flip the audio from English to Japanese, it's I want to say incredible, but not in a good way. It is flabbergasting how different each one sounds.
Because I can,
John,
that's interesting.
I would say as me, a non-audio guy, I have also heard a difference between the Japanese mixing and the English mixing, and I do agree on Japanese mixing is a lot better. Now, I'm not an audio guy, so I don't care as much. As say you do.
That's why I was like, wait, there's another one. Hold on, let me ask you a thing real quick.
For me, it really does come down to the acting, because I have done a lot of acting. I did it all through high school and in college, and
same here.
I do feel like the Japanese, it's not that the Japanese are better, they're just more consistent, and I like consistency.
I think the thing about the Japanese my argument always is that since I'm on the production side of everything, the reason I think the Japanese is usually better is only because they have access to the master copy. I think it's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, 90s dubs, what the fuck? I was going to say 90s dubs back in the 90s. Dubs back in the 90s, for instance, they had to re-Foley sound sometimes. Yeah. Because they don't have a master copy of the audio. Like, they don't have a clean audio track to dub over.
Yep.
It's like if you're making a bridge series and you're like, how do we make this Ava sound like it's moving without Spike Spencer screaming over everything?
It's bad.
It's like you have to
I've
re-Foley
definitely done that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, whenever you have to make a company do that, I think that's kind of where you lose the quality, right? Because they're just trying to be like, God, how the fuck do we make this thing work again? Like, we just ripped it apart. Like, oh shit, we gotta. It's like a sign saying, like, if you break it, you buy it, right? And they're like, they've just destroyed it, and so they're just trying to like rebuild it so they don't have to buy it.
Right.
And I think that's something that you usually and still do see at times where just the dubbing companies don't have access to that master file because they just don't give it away. Like, the companies don't. It's not that they don't have it, because sometimes they do. Sometimes they literally just trash it because they have what's called a burn day, which is where you get rid of all files, everything related to that anime or whatever. I don't know why.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
You do, though, because what you do
it's Holden. It's like when we finish a review and we post it on YouTube, and we're like,
exactly what it's like.
We're like, I don't need these editing files anymore.
And when I say burn it, I don't mean literally burn it. I mean like liquidate them. Like, they don't just. There's not just a fucking like combustible day. That's why the Japanese have that like burnable trash system. Yeah, burnable trash system. It's not just so that all the animators can be like, okay, throw off in the trash. Like, here we go. But I think that's something else that's really important to consider is that just they don't have that, right? I think that if we had access to that,
right.
For instance, the best example of this is Space Dandy.
Yeah.
Space Dandy and Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn, as well as Kurokami. And I think that's the three major ones that were made while in production. They were being at the same time having an English dub made and mixed for them with the Japanese side by side.
Which is why, for the record, Space Dandy is by far the best broadcast dub I've heard.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
No, it's not even close. But it's for that exact reason.
Exactly.
Because, for instance, like I'm just going to bring up one of the most infamous recent examples, which is the Evangelion 3.0 dub.
Yeah.
Evangelion 3.0.
I have that. That's being delivered to me right now. Should I be worried?
No. But here's what's the story behind it. Here's what's really interesting. Whenever Funimation dubbed it to put it in theaters, this is not for release. This is not for home release. This is strictly to show on a circuit route. they did so, and Kara actually put a cease and desist file towards them to redub it, basically.
Oh.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to redub it before distribution could go on because they filed a cease and desist.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why it's been delayed for so
And that's why it's been delayed
long.
so long for the English dub of it, because of that exact reason. They had to redub the entire thing again because Kara took control of their property, of their IP, and said no. And that's a really extreme case, but I think that's really amazing. Not because it's like, oh man,
Well,
great, like, fuck the fucking English speakers, right? But it's really interesting to finally see the Japanese take an initiative towards their medium as an art form globally instead of just in a very localized fashion.
I can't
which is
see
big,
it.
like the Netflix thing. Like, that's huge. It's the same reason.
I can't see it happening with any other franchise than Evangelion.
Yeah, that's true.
It even makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
Anno would... I mean, Anno is just like, I don't know, he just goes on YouTube, searches up Evangelion, and just is like, hey, time to issue all the cease and desist.
Yeah.
It is time.
That's enough for today. Time to go
He's
to
like,
bed.
I'm going to shut down everyone.
It's like, and screw you, and screw you.
I imagine Anno just like logging on to his computer. Then it's like Death Notes. The Death Note thing comes on, and it's just Tetsuo Araki just like zooming the camera above him, and it's just.
If anyone wants the music, it's Low of Solipsism from the Death Note soundtrack. Is the exact song he's thinking of.
All right, so
And yes, it would be fantastic. I'm sure Anno is a great man. If you want to be on the show, Anno, feel free to contact
Okay.
us. But
you're
Before
hot.
we get too off track, going back to the seasonal thing, there was another show that nobody brought up.
what's up, dude?
Ushio Tora.
Oh man, I'm loving that one.
Yeah. That one.
Really, really crazy.
Let's
dude,
talk
right?
about that. This is what I really want to happen.
I was a 90s kid.
Because we've had a couple of those really, really good ones. They really good like 90s, 80s anime that have been readaptated. Readaptated? Is that a word? No, it's not.
A new adaptation.
A new adaptation. Yes. Thank you. People who can think words faster
But the
than
word
I
is
can.
readapted.
Right. But we've gotten a couple of those. The next one they need to do is we need the team from JoJo or Ushio to start working on Fist of the North Star.
Well, they are. They confirmed it already.
Did they confirm it?
Yes, they've confirmed it. Fist of the North Star, it's not the same team, but it's Fist of the North Star, which is it's going to be Ichigo Hokuto no Ken, which is the Fist of like the Strawberry North Star? I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's that one, but it's not the same story. Is it the...
It's not, and because they're never going to readapt it.
I want them to so bad.
It's something that will never happen. The most recent adaptation that was possible was Arlen Senki. And that's because it was an OVA series that did moderately well. Not that well. It ran for like 6 years or something.
Yeah.
I think 4 years. Up in the 90s. And it just got a new series again because Hiromu Arakawa's new manga adaptation of it was getting made. Which is exactly why Baccano might get another season soon because it's also being readapted as manga again now.
Don't say that. But to go back on that, it's like every adaptation like every old adaptation, classic adaptation so far has been done of shows that didn't get a proper adaptation the first time going round.
Yes, Hokuto no Ken is not that show.
I was going to say that's not the thing, is it? No.
Yeah.
And but what's really interesting is that when you point out something like, for instance, I just want to bring it up, Legends of the Galactic Heroes.
Oh God.
With its readaptation that it's going to be getting, it's going to be crazy. When it gets readapted, it will be something that will be either the most polarizing show ever made or the most like well received. I don't know.
I don't know. Even when Legends of the Galactic Heroes gets readapted,
Readapted.
Wait, did you just do the same thing?
Yes, it's a fucking.
Yay.
I got that from you. Literally readapted. I am still not ready to watch it. Like,
no, I know I'm not. I'm fully aware that it will be my favorite anime of all time once I watch it because it is so like Holdenova that I just cannot believe that everything every series I love has some kind of roots or homage somewhere deeply rooted with the Legends of the Galactic Heroes. So that's why I'm always kind of putting it off. I'll watch it when I'm ready to just hate the rest of anime, I guess, and just become what I hate most. Become that elitist. Become that 4chan lurker, or just become that A-board mod who's just like, shit taste, 3x3s, and it's just all pictures of just every main character from Legend of Life Heroes. It's just, that's my 3x3. Like, I'm not ready to become that yet, but whenever I do, I will, and then maybe we'll just go on a Hugbox like Reddit. I don't know. Maybe I'll just become that person who uses forums. Hopefully I won't. Not to talk about anyone who does. I try to live my life at a very low stress level. And anonymity usually does not help.
With that said, we have been talking for about an hour now.
Oh,
yes, we have. Yeah. So I think we wrap it up right now.
Yep.
Thanks, John, for joining us. I hope to have you again.
Thank you, guys.
Really soon.
This was really fun.
I will always be available.
I hope you listen to this for more than 10 minutes.
I know. I was getting ready to say, now that I've told them that I don't commonly listen to the podcast, now this is going to suck.
Yeah. And so with that, actually, I'm actually thinking about what we're going to be doing, because now the next recording that we're going to have fucking like 3 time zones now. Like,
Holden's going to be in Japan.
I'll be in Japan next time.
Which is going to be weird.
And so that's going to be absolutely mental.
So,
yeah.
With that said, well, who wants to? I'll do the outro. Fuck it.
You do, dude.
So, with me today has been Holden from HoldenReviews.
Yeah, and until next time, guys, sayonara and see you later, I guess.
Sarah from 42 Believers.
Nice to be here with you all again. I missed this.
Yes, I think you and a lot of other people, apparently.
as was apparent.
No, really?
Which, for the record, we were very surprised by the response we got from the revival episode.
Yeah, for real.
I didn't know you guys missed us that much.
Yeah.
And we've had Connor from Fictionreviews.
It's been so long, I forgot what my outro is.
Literally, when he said Sarah, I was like, what do I say? What do I say?
Connor, give us an outro, Connor.
That's his outro.
Okay, that's his outro. That's
that specific
that's
one. Now. Do that same thing every single time.
We have John from BaronJ.
Help, I'm trapped on the internet. They won't let me leave.
Never.
And was that your mum coming in, Holden?
It's my mom, dude.
And that's Holden's mum.
I know, I cut all my hair off, Mom. No, Mom, do a podcast! Mom, you wouldn't understand. This isn't a face!
I just heard that groan in the background from her, like, oh my god.
that was a knife in Gigguk from the Anime Zone, and that was perfect timing.
Yeah,
it is.
Holden's mom.
The real MVP. Holden's mom confirmed.
Yeah.
So Sarah, was that more fun than the Holocaust?
Shut up!
Oh my god.